Yeah.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Careful.
Councilmember Trump. Here. Councilmember Emmerling Baker. Here. Councilmember Happy.
Here.
Councilmember Keller.
Here.
Councilmember Seeger.
Here.
Councilmember Pruitt. Here. Mayor Wood.
Here. All right, additions or amendments to the agenda. I do have a few. We're gonna do the proclamation of support for the Hood River County READS program. We're gonna put that at 4C. And then tell me when you're ready. And I would like to move 7B and C under the consent agenda. Move them to C and D. And then also remove motion to elect council president, remove that from the action item completely. This is for the changes.
Need to make a motion?
Yeah, you gotta, ask a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I move to approve the amended agenda. I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Against? All right, the amended agenda has been passed. I may want to go over that. All right, adoption of the consent agenda. I move that we adopt the consent agenda, which includes the approval of the action minutes of January 27, 2025, ratification of the bills in the amount of is that 1 million?
It is, yep.
$1,063,443.82 and the Cascade Blocks PTO OLCC nonprofit and charitable organization exempt event request reform and approve the OLCC special events license for Green Family Breweries.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? Adoption of the consent agenda has passed. All right, special presentations. We have Jamie Crawford from AKS Engineering.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Jamie, and this is my partner in crime, Mr. Danny Meter.
Hi,
Aye.
Thank you for having us.
it's nice to be back after many, many years. And it's kind of changed the council chamber or the council. Yes, used to be over here in the audience. And when I first started down here in 75, Clayton Smith was the city manager, and this was the administrative offices. And over there was the council chamber for the meetings and whatnot. But
Well,
it's interesting. I'm still at it. Jamie and I have been working together, not quite a year. Pretty close. And we haven't met these people either, so.
No, I haven't. So Dave and I have been at this for almost a year, and we work with about 14 or 15 smaller communities all throughout the gorge. As far west, or excuse me, as far east as Island City, which is right adjacent to LaGrande. And then I'm actually working in Depot Bay on the coast as well, so we've got a span. I work out of the office in Tualatin, but I'm always up in the Dalles, kind of running the circuit. And he is born and bred. Have you lived anywhere else other than the Dalles?
Only when was in service and in college.
So he has a lot of institutional knowledge, and you already, when you worked here in the early 80s.
75 to, I think, about 92.
Jumped.
Something.
So, I have about 7 years of planning experience, a master's degree from the University of Louisville in Kentucky in urban planning. And then I have, kind of an interesting background working as a contract planner in consulting for communities, and then on the flip side, working on the private side of things, but we're unit planners, and we're super excited to be part of your community and kind of, see how Cascade Locks is grown, like exponentially, which is crazy. Yeah, I'm just want to introduce ourselves.
I think when I left, I think it was about 92. I think the population was only about 7,800. And now it's 13, almost going to 1,500. Wow, that's something. I established a circuit of smaller communities that weren't large enough to buy a full-time planner. And started it in 75. This was one of the first cities, and continued to this day. And I have to tell you, I've been here a while, and I've been trying to retire, and I found Jamie. Now, if I can find one more person, I think I probably will be able to step aside after we make sure whoever it is works out okay. But I'm looking forward to be back working with you. I've had a lot of experience in Cascade Locks. I could not write a book, but I could tell stories. And I thank you all for considering this. That's about this all we got. Any questions, we'd be happy to answer.
You guys are gonna be in the office once a month here?
Yeah, so I'm actually gonna be here on Wednesday, this week, so it'll be the second Wednesday each month between hours of 10 and 2. So let your constituents know about me, drop me a line. Yeah, and we also have an email set up, it's planning at City of Cascade Locks, .com or .org.
Cascade-locks.or.com.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it's the planning one, so that'll just route straight to me too.
Thank you so much for being here. I'm excited, and I wondered if you will be at any planning commission meetings or as needed.
It's kind of an as needed thing. I mean, we'll be there for any hearings, or any presentations and stuff like that. We do training with a lot of the planning commissions, like with our cities, because sometimes it's not as frequent, that you really get people together to meet, and kind of dive into the planning side of things. So we do like little refreshers, so we're totally open to that. But yeah, so I guess to answer your question, yes.
And then we have, you're probably aware, we have the downtown revitalization committee working on new codes and things, so you'll be obviously up to date with that and check in with Jordan and possibly Amanda. And what else am I thinking about planning? I guess those are the big things, and thank you, we're excited that you're gonna be here, and lots of things will be happening.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. Sheldon Price for Private Works.
Bye, thank you.
Thank you. Safe travels.
Asked me to be here just to, you guys ask a question. I got a few things we've been working on, however you wanna go first.
You go.
Okay. So one of the things we've been working on is a curtain burner. Just found out from Jordan today that we're gonna meet with a guy this week, or next week.
Next Tuesday. Yep.
Next Tuesday. It's basically a incinerator for the. I always wanna say
Yard
burn pile.
yard
For the
debris.
Yard
Yard debris pile.
And I think we're gonna move forward with that. We've got a grant for it.
Yep.
And see how that works.
So I'm sorry, what is this again?
It's an incinerator to burn the yard debris.
So the Oregon State Fire Marshals is doing a pilot program. They're giving 3 communities around the state $25,000 to help with defensible space management. And we decided the best way to use it was on top of the discussion we had last spring about the yard debris pile, is to be able to keep it open and for the city to efficiently get rid of that pile. So because the $25,000 allows us to do a direct contract, we did some research, talked with the attorney, looked at other options, came up with a curtain burner. As Sheldon said, we're meeting with the operator of the curtain burner. There's only 2 in the entire state qualified or permitted by DEQ to run these mobile curtain burners. So they'll be here on Tuesday, look and see the options are. I think preliminary, it'd be every other month they'd be on site to burn. But again, we're going to meet with them to figure that out. But we have the $25,000 to spend. I don't know if it's a renewable program, but depending on how it goes, how often they're needed, hopefully it's something we can fit into a permanent budget moving forward. So we can keep that pile open without overburdening our staff. So that's the goal.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your presentation on my outburst there, so I'll save my questions.
Nope, no. Yeah, I believe it burns like 4 to 5 cubic yards an hour, that's what they're saying. So that will reduce the ash, will burn it all down, like the way we do it now, it just doesn't burn very well. Doesn't get rid of, everything, so hopefully this will really take that. What's left over. Down to a minimum.
One of the questions is what we're gonna do with what's left over. There's not much left over, but I guess it can be used for mulch and other purposes. I don't want it. So we're gonna talk with the gentleman, see if he's willing to haul it off, or we could at least something where we give it away to residents. I'm not sure what that last little bit is, but we're working on it.
That's about it for.
Did you have anything else?
Yard debris, yeah, I have a few other things. We're gonna reapply for the small city allotment grant. We applied for last year, we didn't get it. So that'll be basically for trying to pave a couple streets here in town. We got the new truck, got it outfitted, and it is working very well. Very pleased to have it. With the new crane that's on the side of it, it's really saving our back. So it's nice. We hired a new employee for Public Works. Devin Hadley, he started today, which is first day. Young fellow, we're really pleased to have him be part of the team. I think he's gonna work out well. And that's about all I got. I did a little bit of research on the water line stuff that we talked about. And as far as like what was originally what we had at the time we did the overhaul and put in on the new water line. When we did that, we replaced, from Hammond down to Wasco, up Adams, over to Ruckle and up Dry Creek. All this was 12 on Forest Lane and Wanapa, and then we did a stint up to the new reservoir that's up Harvey Road. So that's all 12-inch, and then 8-inch over here up to Ruckle. And originally we had 81,800 linear feet. But when we did that overhaul, we got rid of a bunch of pipe because we got rid of Dry Creek Reservoir. So that was a bunch of transmission line that was part of a big part of our loss. So getting rid of that, it was Swiss cheese. I mean, it had holes in it everywhere. So that was a very good thing to get rid of that. And then what we replaced, it really reduced our leakage. So I know there were some people concerned about how much we were losing.
Can you give a percentage of how much Swiss cheese pipe you think the city still has that we? Ballpark.
Off the top of my head, I can't.
Okay.
I know that was some of our oldest stuff and really a thin wall pipe. that was just tar wrap steel and it was thin to begin with, so. I would say that was the big nastiest part of our system was that transmission line. You know, it was 50, 60, probably 60, 70 years old. But I can't really, it's with working with it and digging, you know, I haven't seen anything that's like that. Most of the other leaks have been at a joint or because of land shifting, you know, horizontal cracks, or just, you know, service lines, anywhere you gotta fit in, you know, that's a weak spot, so.
All right, Bernard, you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. Hey, Sheldon, so a couple questions on that incineration machine. Did I understand that it's gonna be mobile? It's not gonna be down in the treatment plant?
Correct.
And then what kind of debris can you incinerate? Does that have to be chipped or can it be anything?
Just yard debris, yeah, limbs, leaves, it can be chipped, it sounds like.
You can, but like
Grass.
branches, I mean, significant, bigger stuff.
Yeah, just it's same thing as what people bring down there now. It'll burn whatever you bring down. I mean, yeah, we may have to, you know, make it smaller, but
And can you tell a little about how it works? Is it like gas fired or?
yes,
Okay,
I
so
think
you got
it's
a
just,
source of energy and,
yeah, it's just propane, I believe.
right. Okay, and I assume, because it's DEQ approved, it's a lot cleaner burn than what we've been doing.
Correct, correct. I believe the way it's set up is that just like just like your wood stove you have in your house, it reburns those gases. So
Right.
the emissions is relatively low.
Right, okay. Well, for what it's worth, City Administrator, I think this is a great story. I think, again, if we had a newsletter, I would love to tell the public about this. To know that we're being responsibly with air quality with our yard debris. And this is a good effort on Sheldon and everyone's part, getting the grant and then bringing it to Cascade Locks, especially when there's only 3 in the entire state. So just bravo. So regarding water consumption, so I'm pretty sure that we know how much water we're pumping out of our wells every month, and then we know how much we're selling. I mean, does someone track that on a monthly basis? And couldn't that get an idea of how much leakage do you know that off the top of your head, Sheldon?
I do not, I should have got that together before tonight, but we can do that and I can present it to you.
That's a quick analysis for anybody to kind of wrap their hands around it. I mean, leaky pipes go like, oh my God, I can just imagine all this stuff. But you say, look, we're pulling out this much and we're selling that much. There's always a little delta in there that just gets lost, right? But
Yes.
that's a good estimate on how leaky our system is just by those 2 numbers, you know?
Yeah,
So-
I see it's playing.
If you guys could do that in your next report, I think I'd be very interested in that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Denise, did you have a question?
No, or Councilman Seeger asked my question about the DEQ and the emissions, and so are we committing to a certain amount of time to do this if we decide we hate it?
Until the $25,000 is up,
Okay.
Yeah.
And we know where it's gonna be located when it comes?
it'll be down next to the pile.
Okay, great, because I didn't know, obviously, we think it's gonna have lower emissions, but if there was some complaints from Port Properties or Jahala homeowners or something.
Correct.
Right.
So the company name is actually Valley Environmental. They have a good website. They have a video of them standing next to their incinerator, looking through the smoke that comes out of it to a burn pile down the road, just emitting smoke everywhere. It shows exactly how high quality it is. So it's Valley Environmental. Yep.
I hopped on my phone today to Google this thing, I had to check it out, but it looked like there's like a curtain of air that goes over the top of the fire pit, which makes the smoke just recirculate, just like we said, to reburn that and reduces the pollution, but. So I misunderstood, so I thought first you were saying we were buying one, but really, we're gonna have somebody here with a portable incinerator.
Correct.
On, what, once a month you said?
Every other month, it's just we'll find out by talking to the guy next week, and then the first time he comes out, then we'll kind of figure out how we need to do that. And of course, like right now, it's slow. But, here in the next couple months, it's gonna pick up, so.
So the hope is to get through everything that's down there right now, and then after that, just stay on top of what people are bringing.
Correct.
And minimize the amount of ash, because that was the problem, we didn't run out of spaces to put the ash.
And granted, it's not a full it's not a guaranteed thing that we're gonna be able to be doing this because of the cost of it, because of the grant. It's kind of let's try it out, see what happens. I'm sure they're really expensive, but maybe we can get the grant.
I was gonna say, is it cost prohibitive? What's one of these air incinerators cost?
I have no idea.
50 grand at least. They are not cheap.
Thank you.
And so we don't know how much they're gonna charge each time?
We're gonna talk about that on Tuesday. The email stated $1,850 for a day of work. They didn't really specify what a day of work is. So.
Was reading up on ash and, cause I get a lot of ash. And it's a good natural de-icer. It's messy, like you wouldn't want it on your front doorstep because you'd track it in your house, but it's supposed to be really good for de-icing. Like people use it for roads and stuff. So, I don't know.
Hadn't heard that one.
Yeah. That it?
I have one item to add kind of on the water and sewer line. We are looking at asking for a camera scoping system in the upcoming budget. So we can do, whether it's 5 or 10% of our system camera that every year. So we have something to fall back on.
Yes.
Because when we did these original upgrades, we did camera scopes to figure out what needed to be done. I don't think it had ever been done before that. And it hasn't been done since.
It has been, but it's been a while.
Yeah. So if we can get something so we can stay on top of it and not go, oh crap, we need to scope our system. So, and DEQ is only going to come down harder on these things. They're not going to lighten up. So the more proactive we can be, the better.
Thank you, Sheldon, for coming and telling us all about it.
You're welcome.
Thanks
for having me.
One of the things that the community really wants is the debris place open back up, especially when summer gets there.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, can we have the ladies from the Hood River County REITs program?
Thank you for fitting us in. We
You
were
are welcome.
going on our directives from Rachel Fox, the library director. This is Barb Cooper. I know Gary, we're part of the Hood River REITs. And it's new to both of us, so we're gonna be quick. I said 30 seconds, I can do this. Proclamation of support for the 2025 Hood River County REITs program, the Bead Workers, stories by Beth Piatot. Whereas Friends of the Hood River County Library have organized the Hood River County Library REITs program to support reading books and discussing ideas among all members of our community. And whereas the selection of the Bead Workers stories by author Beth Piatot, member of the Nez Perce, writer, scholar, Indigenous language revitalization advocate, gives Hood River County the opportunity to engage in stories that explore the contemporary lives of Indigenous peoples in the Pacific Northwest, exposing the injustices that continue to underscore their lives, along with joy and celebration of the power of kinship. And whereas the city of Cascade Locks celebrates the history and richness of our Northwestern people, and whereas Hood River County REITs has been endorsed, supported, and financially assisted by local schools, businesses, organizations, as well as the Hood River County Library Foundation, Starseed Foundation, Hood River County Education Foundation, Friends of the Hood River County Library, Hood River Cultural Trust, Wards Community Foundation, Hood River Valley Leos, and generous individuals. And whereas the author Beth Piatot presents talks and workshops for our students and the community at large, and whereas over 600 copies of the Bead Workers stories will be distributed so it can be read and discussed at multiple venues throughout the county. Now therefore be resolved that the city of Cascade Locks establishes February 2025 to April 2025 as Hood River County REITs. We're leaving you with a couple copies of the book. There will be more at your local library here. She does get the program's a little bit odd this year because we had to work around the a couple things going on at the library. We had to work around the author schedule. So she will be presenting on March 1st, which is kind of in the middle of the program. No, 2nd, which is in the middle of the program instead of at the end. The brochure lists a number of wonderful programming opportunities for anybody who's interested. So thank you for letting us in.
Yes, thank you. Sorry for the confusion.
Thank you. Yes, so much. Thank you.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear about you. All right.
We all are.
Yes. Right, appearances of interested citizens to share a variety of perspectives on issues facing our community. None. Public hearings.
Nope.
None. All right, that moves us down to action items, resolution number 1515, vehicle and equipment surplus.
All right, so the Public Works 2001 Dodge truck and a 1986 Cushman utility cart that is beyond their service life and not usable by the city any longer. The city plans on disposing of the property in the most cost-effective way for the city. Council options are to deem vehicles as surplus property or to take no action. Not really germane to the conversation, but oddly enough, the utility cart is considered equipment and not a vehicle. I don't know why. Even though it goes on the road, you track its miles, it's equipment and not a vehicle. I thought it was really odd. And also I struggle to fit into it. So like watching Sheldon get into it is quite entertaining.
I move to approve resolution number 1515 declaring city vehicle and equipment as surplus. Second.
All in favor?
Any discussion?
Any discussion, sorry.
Hi.
Discussion. I just wondered if, I mean, I know you probably can't get like I don't expect that. Precise, we're gonna get this amount, but I mean, can we not figure out, I know I asked you this online, but we can't come up with like how much it could be?
Typically not until it's committed to the auction house. That's where we have been sending stuff that's gotten our best results.
And then will we get a report on it?
Oh, yes, yeah.
History has it too, that they've done really well surplus.
Yes.
In the past. All right. Any more discussion? All right, all in favor?
Hi.
Against? All right. Let's see here. Resolution number 1515 passes. Committee reports, tourism.
Well, there she is.
All right, good evening.
Oh, good evening.
Coming to you from the screen today. Hello. Yes, so this is the quarterly report, and I made it actually into your packet this time. So here we go with all of the updates from tourism from December through February. So we have put in applications for Travel Oregon's competitive grants program. We've put in our own application, letter of interest, and have submitted to support. We've been like talking to two other organizations to support their applications. The program that I spoke to in December, Recreation Ready, our project was not selected to be one of the 4 projects in the state. But that project will be applying for the Port of Cascade Locks grant for the updates to the Easy Climb, and we did submit a letter of support for that project. We're also continuing to work on our strategic marketing plan and making our updates to maps and our website. We're looking at a couple of different events that are coming back this summer. Coming up this April is the Cascade Locks Earth Day. We'll be doing our 2nd year of that, and that is an event that's hosted by the committee. And we also wanted to make sure that the Gorge Waterfalls race, sometimes this one comes as a surprise to our residents because it happens in April. This is that 100K race where the runners go all the way along the waterfall corridor and then end in Cascade Locks. And we usually get quite a bit of traffic from that, both at our hotels and in town in general. And that is a busy weekend. And I wanted to make sure that was out in front of the residents that April 10th through 13th, our businesses need to be staffed for that and just be on the lookout for lots of pedestrian activity. next Wednesday, the 26th, we're having our museum season kickoff party. I'll be doing a pub talk on the rapid changes of the Columbia, which is the title of our exhibit on the Cascade Locks and Canal. We'll be doing some raffle prizes, and the museum opens for the year on March 1st. We're also doing some work with the regional and statewide tourism network. We are working with a company called Wheel the World to do some accessibility assessment supports. And that is funded through Travel Oregon, and we will be able to get those assessments done for several businesses in town. I did actually attach the Arts and Economic Prosperity Survey results to this packet, so we'll get to go through those as well. And we're still working with the regional DMOs and taking care of all of the things we need to do for meetings. Moving forward into the next quarter, we'll be working on our tourism planning consultants, and also getting ready for budget season. There's also several conferences coming up in April that we'll be sending either our staff or committee members to. Getting ready for all of the seasonal promotions and just getting into that tourism season. And then this little extra attachment is an interesting document. This was a national level. The Americans for the Arts is a big organization that there was funding put together in 2022 to do a big impact study for a lot of Oregon communities, and we got to participate in this. And then this is specific to the Gorge region. So basically what this boils down to for us in an applicable way is that as long as we're doing arts events and cultural events, if 11% of our visitors, of the attendees for those programs come from outside of our area, they have nearly the same economic impact that it does for a local person to, like the impact for visitors coming. You can serve the locals while also having that visitor economic impact, which is really cool. Sorry, I was really well prepared to talk about this in December. But it's a really interesting study, and it was cool to get to participate in something like that. We were doing a lot of actual surveying for this in 2022, and it's nice to finally see that data all wrapped up and in a pretty package. And that was it for me. Does anyone have any questions?
I have one. Is there 3 vacancies on tourism currently?
Yes.
Denise?
We had considered, at last, I think, council comments, possibly changing our ordinance to reduce the 7 members on the committee to 5. Do you have any opinion on that? So that you might meet quorum more easily?
I think that should be part of the discussion for their strategic planning. One of the directives that they were given by the last council was to evaluate the structure of their committee, and that could be a potential solution, but I really don't think it's for me to say that as the contractor support. So that's something that we can definitely take before the committee to consider.
Thank you.
Eric?
I was just curious, Janice, about your letter of interest to support feasibility study for salmon cells infrastructure. What would that entail? Like, what's their goal? Like, what are they trying to accomplish?
Ideally, it would be a really cool project to do some permanent installation up in the salmon sales area so that people don't have to do pop-up tents. And the feasibility study would be looking at everything from the land ownership and what kind of built environment would be appropriate, and also the funding aspects of it. And we are not the lead on that project. This is just something that we were supporting. So it, but I mean, ideally it'll be built environment for that. Whether that is an ice machine or a cleaning station or a pavilion or a marketplace, those are all different things that could come from that, but it's very early in the planning process.
Bernard?
Yes, thank you. Thanks for the report, Janice. So a couple of things. we had a brief discussion regarding tourism at our retreat last weekend, the weekend before, and the bathrooms came up, near the post office, and I'm sure you're aware they've had their challenges. But I mean, for what it's worth, I'm pro public bathrooms, even though they come with their headaches. Can you give your take? I mean, and I'm not trying to bias you, but is it fair to say that's a critical public asset when it comes to tourism, or where do you stand? There's pros and cons. The benefits are the thing, but obviously the cons are the maintenance and the vandalism, all the things the city has to deal with. Can you give your perspective on that, on those two, pros and cons of the public bathrooms?
Yes, I can. So the number one question we get at the front desk at the visitor center is, where is the bathroom? Where is the place that I can go use the bathroom? The bathroom is a big deal when it comes to tourism. I mean, by the time you have made it to Cascade Locks, if you're on a day trip from Portland, this is biologically a good place to stop and take care of those issues. That being said, I totally also understand that the primary users for those facilities are not the ones who have to care for them, right? So when it's all people from out of town that need to stop and use the bathroom, but a local person has to clean it every day, that's where I see the pain point, right?
Right.
I can take that to the committee for them to discuss solutions, but that's kind of the reality. It is very important to have public facilities. I think the signage could be better for it. And they just kind of are what they are, let's we can't make people be respectful of those spaces. But I don't know, I feel like the cleaner they are, the more likely people are to treat them well. I don't have like statistics to back that up right this second, but I would imagine that from like a company like Love's or something probably does have that data that we could maybe find.
Sure. Okay. And just one other note, I'm sure you're aware we do have a new public facility up at the trailhead at Gorge Trail 400 PCT. So what do you know what the status of that is? It doesn't look like it's open to the public yet.
The last I heard, the port was planning to launch that sometime towards the end of April, but I have not heard an update in the last month and a half.
Okay. And then my second question was, look, I enjoy these reports, but one of the things I'm always interested in here is like, how is the tourism, business, quarter to quarter, and then obviously I'd like to see it in an annual basis. I mean, I assume you talk to hotel, motel operators in town and other businesses who benefit from our tourism, visitors. How are we doing? I mean, what's your vibe right now with the general economic scene from those folks who make their money connecting with tourists?
It is the slow time of the year for that. And that's just the seasonality of our region. I haven't heard anything specific about it being worse or better, and I think that the best way to capture that data would actually to be looking at the TLT reports and the deposits, to be able to track the trends for that, because those are numbers that we can run through an algorithm and like make graphs. But
okay, thank you.
Tiffany? So, going back to the bathroom, I hope the discussion also includes the damage that gets done to it, because it's not just keeping it clean, it's keeping it in working order, which is a big frustration. And I would eventually like to see how much it costs us throughout the year, and how much repairs we've done, and how much income we don't really get on it, just out of curiosity. And then I appreciate your report. One thing I'd like to ask is if you could define your acronyms. I'm reading a lot of stuff, and there's a lot of alphabet soup that we're going through, and I don't know what these letters mean, and you put them in your report, so.
of course. I sent Jordan a page from our, we have like an onboarding manual that we do for tourism, and that has like the whole little lexicon in it. Did that not make it to council? Okay, yes, I will happily share that, sorry.
That's fine. It's just, you know what you're speaking. I don't know. I
I
don't know.
do, yeah, and I know it's complex and that's why we have it built into our onboarding for the committee, but there's a lot.
It'll take me a little bit, but I'll get it eventually.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you.
problem. We'll make sure you get that.
Right, Denise, thank you for your report and all that you're doing, and again, you know, I've mentioned before that I live where I can see those bathrooms and I see that they're a very important need for our tourist people that pull in there. And other people to be able to say that they're open, so I know it's a pain, and I'm hoping should the old fire station ever become occupied, that would reduce, there are studies to show that density of businesses open, reduce damage done, so that would be nice. And then it dawned on me, since it's a tourism related facility, that area, that eventually if the tourism committee or with the port or with grants ever wanted to expand there to a small visitor center or something that would have another open spot, you know, right by those bathrooms. But I do think that, so just putting that out there too, it dawned on me when the ministry grant came up, like, oh, that's an edifice, could we add to that? A glass, you know, visitor center or something. Anyway, is there ever thought about expanding in that area?
I can take that to the committee, but it's not something that they had discussed recently.
Okay, thanks.
Any more questions? We're good. Thank you, Janice.
Thank you for having me.
Coming. Okay, we're on to the ADU meter ordinance.
All right, so this is ordinance 461, amending ordinance number 440 by adding language to clarify requirements to have separate utilities for additional living units. Staff proposed an amendment to the ordinance 440 to take away the risk of an unpaid utility account affecting a separate living unit being served by only one meter. When the city's first ADU was built, staff contacted other cities with electrical utility and used this same language. The city attorney has reviewed and approved the amendment. Staff is not looking for a final decision tonight. This is just something we are proposing. And like guidance from council, if there's any interest to move forward with this, both of you or some of you proposed several questions about the ordinance that definitely need a review. So again, is this something council wants to pursue or leave as is? If it is something, we'll do more due diligence, do a complete rework of 440 to represent. We just didn't want to go too far down the rabbit hole before we were told yes or no. So.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
How many people have been in jeopardy from renting and then the owner not paying the electric
I
bill?
honestly couldn't tell you. I don't know.
So is this ADUs or ARUs?
It's ARUs.
One place it says ADU, another place it says ARU.
Yeah, the more common term is ADU. For whatever reason, Cascade Locks chose ARU. They're interchangeable, but for Cascade Locks purposes, it is ARU.
And did this generate from the discussion we had at the workshop?
Nope, completely separate.
And then all these are these corrections or these questions that I asked, will they be part of the cleaning up process?
Yes, yeah. Again, we haven't done a full scrub of it. We just highlighted the items we wanted changed. But again, want to get council consensus to move forward with this, or just drop it and move on.
How does this help? Can you answer that question? How does this, redoing this, what is the purpose of it? Just to clean up language, to make it more clear?
Yeah, clean up language, make it more clear. Again, that our main concern is tenants of an ARU. They're kind of left to the mercy of the property owner.
As opposed to the city. You say that they're left at the whim of and this will clear that out how?
That ARU will have to have a separate meter, just like an apartment. You have your own electrical meter, you have to pay your electrical bill.
Bernard?
Yeah, so right now, City Administrator Bennett, is it the policy such that a homeowner who decides to build an ARU can use one utility account to service that ARU and their home? Is that what I understand?
Correct.
Okay. And look, I feel like there's definitely gray area on this issue. As the person who actually built the first ARU in town, I wrestled with that. And my first instinct was to say, no, I'll just use my existing electrical and water and sewer line, and they'll connect into my system and life goes on. And the city did come back to me and say, look, I'm not sure if they said we demand, but I think they said in strong enough language that we recommend you establish a separate utility account. And I did that. And I would argue that that has served me well. It is nice to have the tenant set up their own utility account with the city and not have to be worried about by the owner. And so just to clarify, the benefits of this is it can reduce the cost of building your ADU or ARU if you don't make them put another meter. That is more cost to the construction of the unit. But all things considered, it wasn't a big portion of my total construction costs. And I would argue functionally, I prefer this the tenant on a separate meter. So I just wanted to share that with council, kind of some of the pros and cons of changing it. So just for what it's worth, I'm supportive of this change, but I could see the flip side on reducing your cost a little by the entire lot on one meter system.
Well, yes, because I'm a little bit confused. Working in the city, I didn't think this was a problem. I thought it was part of the policy that when you build something, you have to have your own meter. It says the point designated by the city. We tell them, hey, you have to have your own meter. Are you just trying to explain it better?
That's part of it, yeah.
So, okay, a couple more questions from Bernard's discussion. So is this gonna be from this point forward, or is it gonna be a requirement of all ADUs? Is there gonna be a grandfather clause? I don't know. I mean,
That'd be part of the further research.
okay.
Yeah.
And then, and is this for all meters, electric, water, sewer, and all of that, or is it?
It'd be for all of them, yep.
Okay, thank you. Denise?
So do we currently, I am a little unclear too, do we currently require electric, water, sewer on separate meters?
No.
No.
It's not explicitly stated. As Mary Ann just pointed out, it's kind of implied, but not explicitly stated.
Because I have heard at least one, maybe two folks wanting to build ADUs for elderly parent, saying it is so expensive to do that. And do we know what is the cost to?
I would have to double check, but I would guess $2,000, $3,000, maybe $5,000. I'm not completely sure though. And I've heard that argument, and I'm all for people taking care of their elderly parents, but they're not going to live in there forever. And at some point, that's going to turn into a rental unit. It's gonna happen. Sorry. It's gonna happen. Yeah.
So we have businesses in town that have I know one building in particular that has 2 commercial spots and 1 residential on 1 meter. Are we gonna require that they all do that too? Cause it's not just residential that's doing this, you have commercial properties that are doing the same thing.
Well, if it's the same owner of the commercial property, I mean, this specifically talks about. Well, Donovan says specifically ARU, but commercial meters and I mean, it would be from this point forward, we can't go
back.
tell somebody you need to put in separate meters.
How many ARUs or ADUs do we have now? I only know of one. Is there more?
Legally, we know of one. We know of
Oh.
others that are operating that.
Okay.
So are we calling it ARU or ADU?
It's an ARU in our code.
Okay, just so I can keep it.
Everywhere else in the world calls. them ADU.
Yeah, I have not seen an ARU
Why-
anywhere else.
Why is it ARU in our code? Why can't we just change it to ADU? That makes a whole lot more sense. Sorry, but it does.
Thank you. And you said looking at other city codes, so this is common
Yes,
to make sure there's
Yep.
separate water meter.
City Recorder Woosley did the research, but yes.
Okay, thank you.
I think before I feel good making any decision is that we would know somewhat what the cost is for this. So we know what kind of impact. And we said that it's gonna be from whatever day the resolution is forward. We're not gonna go backwards and make all of them do
Yeah,
it.
I mean, as much as I'd love to, I don't see a way of being able to actually enforce it.
Right.
And if the illegal ones were to go get a permit and all that, yes, it's gonna happen for them.
Right, yeah.
Comes with the building permit.
Bernard?
Yeah, so I just pulled up my spreadsheet when I built my ARU. And the total cost for my SDCs plus the utility hookup was $7,259. And so, again, that's with the SDCs. That's parks, that's the whole thing, water, electric, etc. So it's not 2 to 5. The majority of that 7,000 was the SDCs. I want to say it's around 1,000, maybe 1,500 for the electrical piece. So for what it's worth, for the
And that
utility.
would depend on, each one's gonna be different because of where they
Where's
might
it
be
located?
located.
Yeah.
That's right. It does vary by project. That's correct.
And when was that Bernard for you? When did you do that?
2020.
Well, that's 5 years ago. 5 years ago, it's 2020.
So let's double that now.
Yeah. So what's council wanna do? Do we wanna have them do more research on it and get back to us for discussion? Do you have a question, Eric?
No, I'm trying to move forward.
Okay, yeah, me too. So more research or drop it?
Sure.
I think this is great. Let's, you can push it.
Okay, perfect.
All right, more research. All right. All right, the utility deposit resolution, next.
Again, kind of the same thing, looking for consensus from council on how they want to move forward. After the city was left with a large unpaid utility bill, staff wrote a resolution to update the deposit amount for commercial utility counts. The resolution, which is attached, was presented on September 23rd. Council requested additional research and to hold a workshop with local businesses. The workshop was held on October 14th. Staff completed more research and presented the attached updated modernized policy for deposits on commercial accounts. Business owners provided several options as well. At the November 25th meeting, CA Bennett asked during his report how council wanted to proceed with the resolution. There was consensus to hold off on any decision until the new council was in place. Staff are now asking how council would like to proceed with the review and implementation of a new deposit policy.
I would like to move forward, and can we also look at the fees and adjusting the fees associated with that? To get those updated to more current trends.
What specifically with fees, just to make sure we're on the same page.
Maybe red tag fee, return check fee seems in norms. But I guess maybe the red tag fee and late fee.
We certainly can if that's what council wants.
Mary Ann.
I believe those fees are gone to the people, is that correct? Or those fees, I'm just trying to get an understanding, are those fees considered administrative and you can increase them?
I think it's always been assumed everything went to a vote of the people, but again, it's council's job to interpret their code, their charter. If council deems them administrative, then yeah. If you deem them legislative, then they need to go to the vote.
Well, in my mind, they're administrative, but that's my mind.
Mhm.
So.
They're not already established, I mean, it's a new fee. Any new fees, this is not a new fee, this is already an established fee to me. It seems to be able to raise them. My feelings anyways.
Bernard? You frozen?
Looks like it.
Looks like it.
It's really a question.
Yes, I feel like they're administrative, and on the non-residential utility account, we had a at-length workshop with several business owners in the industrial area. And so who it seemed the consensus then was for flexibility in the option, so I appreciate that you put the 2 months or the surety bond, and yet I might suggest customer has a commercial account with Cascade Locks for the same company business at another address and has good credit for a minimum of 3 years. And I'm not sure if we put anything in there, I may not understand all, for huge electrical users like Bear Mountain, or obviously they've been here for 3 years with good credit, but some of these companies that might be huge to have to come up.
That's where they most likely get a surety bond.
Okay.
Instead of, I mean, they can do whatever they want, but in their case, surety bond would be the most economical.
So even with our new financial officer and possibly hiring another person in finances, there was a suggestion by one of the big electrical users to bill them more often. So you would never be, is that just too time consuming?
It would be a lot of work. I mean,
Okay.
we could do it, but
So the options now are either the 2 months to have been here and we waive it, or the surety bond. Is that what I'm
one item that did come up from the workshop that wasn't added in, was, oh gosh, letter of guarantee, I think is what it was called. But there was also discussions about putting a pool together and how that would be maintained, and it was a lot of soup. I think the only other option we could add is that letter of guarantee. Those would be the 3 cleanest options that still hold individual accounts accountable, that doesn't require extra work by staff.
I don't understand the legal, what is a letter of guarantee, the legal ramifications for that?
It's kind of like a surety bond, but at a personal level.
So somebody else is saying, I'll pay it
Yep.
if they don't?
Pretty much, yep.
Like co-sign.
Yep.
See you froze yet. Bernard?
I think he's breaking. I think he stepped away.
He stepped away.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Oh,
My connection was bad, so I turned off my camera. At least I've been told that can help. I'm gonna turn it back on because I think we're back into, okay. Yeah, so a few things. One quick question. When the account went delinquent and they left us with the bill, Jordan, were they on auto pay? How were they paying their bill? Do you recall?
No, I think they did a e-check, but I'm not 100%. I'd have to double check, but it was not auto pay.
Okay. So here's where I'm at on this. I walked us through this at our December meeting, but I'll just review it based on the analysis I've done. I really like what Salt River Project Utility in Arizona has done for their deposit policy. I shared that with the city administrator back then. I'm happy to walk you through that. They have, as was mentioned, the 2 months. You can do 2 months. They have a surety bond. They have a irrevocable letter of credit. Wait a second, I'll make sure I get saying that right. Let's see. Now I lost it. I think that's what it's called, an irrevocable letter of credit. And then they've got two other things. They have a program that says if you sign up for ACH pay, then we'll reduce your deposit by 25%. And, you know, I would love to hear Mary Ann's take on this, but it's when I worked, you know, I worked here, but I also worked in Gresham. We had, a 25,000 customer utility. And one of our, strongest correlated payment histories is if they have ACH. Folks who have ACH are much more likely to pay their bill than any other form of payment. And the data proved that out consistently. So I think there might be some wiggle room on that if the council feels that's a reasonable risk. And then the last thing, if they do the 2 months, I really do think we should make it worth their while, and they get an interest, basically an interest account, and they get the LGIP return on their deposit, especially if it's a large one. I'm not saying we do that for residential. These are these large customers that I think that small accounting would be worth their while and make it less painful for them. And it's always their money, They say this is expensive, but yeah, it's like you having a savings account and now it's earning 5%, 4.5%, which is a good return for a savings account. So those are the 4+ options that I think we should be considering to provide lots of, possibilities for a big business to meet their requirement and protect the city.
How much was the large unpaid? There was not a clear.
I don't remember off the top of my head now.
I thought it was 8,000.
18,000.
Thank you.
Okay.
I knew it was 10 something at least.
I just have a couple things on existing commercial customers. I was at the meeting where Bear Mountain and all the commercial businesses were here. And they even went so far to say that they would leave Cascade Locks if they had to pay the 2 months. I could see maybe doing a surety bond, but I would think, hell, they've been in business for at least 16 years that I know of. I don't know how long they've had their account with us. I would think people that have been with us and had good credit and paid their bills, that we shouldn't be worrying about them. I think maybe the new ones coming in, or if we see one that we're having trouble, I don't know how you want to do that, but I can't see that a business that's been here even 5 years and then all of a sudden we want a security deposit.
Well, correct, yeah. So we would review the account history of who's here, and I would assume 95% of the businesses would actually just get their deposit back. They'd have shown their good credit history or payment history, and they would just get their deposit back. This is for those that are actively late or continually getting red tags, and for new businesses.
And the other thing, I've seen a lot of questions about changing the red tag from 5 to 6 p.m. and we're closed Fridays and stuff. One of the goals that the community wants is they would like to see City Hall open 5 days a week. And that doesn't mean that you can't have employees work 4 on and 3 off. That just means that we rotate our employees a little bit. I mean, that would happen today, but down the road, that is like one goal. So I can't see changing all the red tags and changing all the times and all that stuff before, we've visited that subject. So, does anybody else have anything? I think that was more on the ADU discussion. Yeah, but your red tags are agreed.
I was just gonna say, I like in your response to that, I thought was, let's use language that's specifically vague, so.
Yes.
If we're not open, then, not specifying a weekend necessarily or holidays, just a day that city hall is closed. I thought that was a good solution, at least a little more flexible. I definitely think we need to implement something, and I think that, to your point, 95% of the businesses that are in town are gonna probably get their deposit back, but it protects the city. I like the addition of the surety bond, so that way if there's, it's cost prohibitive for a new business coming in, get the surety bond, and that's a lot more simple, so. Let's get this done.
So would it be that no matter how long they've been in business here, that we would collect a security deposit or a security? Or
No, it'd be new ones.
Yeah.
Okay,
For those that have shown a bad payment history
right.
or new ones. So like Bear Mountain, they would just get their deposit back.
So why, do they have a deposit currently?
I actually don't know.
So that's why I'm like confused, because we're returning deposits on good credit businesses, so I'm confused if we're haven't collected one, how we're gonna. So
I don't know. Like I said, they've had an account for I don't know how long. I don't even know if one was collected at the time. If we have one on file, they will get it back.
Bernard?
Thank you. Yeah, the only thing I wanted to mention, also share is that I agree with Councilmember Bump, and I'm not sure ever made the point, but these fees, if we want to adjust the red tag or late payment, it's my conclusion that is administrative in nature, and we should make those adjustments if we feel like we are not reflecting market conditions.
So slightly off topic, but on that thread, the way I see an administrative fee is if it's something that is asked for or placed upon after the fact of something happens, like a red tag fee or a propane fee or a burn permit. But a legislative one would be like the EMS fee that is placed on everybody regardless. So that's, but again, that's up to council to interpret, but that is how I, as city administrator, interpret legislative versus administrative. Which, if you agree with that, then that frees us up to do a lot of stuff. So, to update a lot of things. But that might be a bigger discussion for another night.
I think
Yeah.
so. I think we should move on.
Yeah.
That way we can also get Ruben's take.
Yeah,
on it
yes,
too.
definitely.
So we're not having to clean stuff up. Denise, do you have something real quick?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, are we going to consider all of what Councilman Seeger suggested to add? I know that Mayor Woodward, we were both at that meeting, they said a flexibility of options made them feel good, and yay, we have the surety bond or the deposit, or, so I'm still in favor of reducing 5 years to 3 years of good credit, and then some of the things Councilman Seeger said here, and echoed by City Administrator Bennett, irrevocable letter of credit, and maybe this ACH thing? The ACH, if they sign up for auto pay, that we can reduce.
Yeah, at this point, consensus from council to move forward. Staff will do due diligence research to represent at a future meeting. Yep.
Yeah, sounds good.
My take on this is simpler it is, the easier it is to execute.
Yes, agree.
Yeah, right?
Agree.
And so I totally understand and respect your opinion about, give people more options, but it just becomes more cumbersome
Yeah.
to execute.
Yeah.
The simpler we keep it, the easier it is to execute.
Yeah.
And for 95% of the existing businesses, they're gonna get money back. For people that are choosing to move here, the cost of operating here is going to be less than operating somewhere else. That's why they're looking to move here. Lease, their lease payment's gonna be less, the price per square foot for commercial space is less, electricity is cheap. There's cost savings elsewhere. So, and everybody is probably gonna have to pay a deposit on their large commercial account anywhere they go to do business anyway. So,
Thanks. All right,
Thank you,
So-
council.
on to audits.
All right. Okay. City and now CFO staff met with Aldrich staff on February 5th. Aldrich is able/willing to bump up the timeline for the current audit fiscal year 22-23. Client provided documents are due March 31st. field work will begin April 14th. An issue date of late May is planned. We will flow directly into the next audits. We have a tentative timeline of getting completely caught up with audits in February 26th, so 12 months from now. The original timetable tracker I presented I forgot to update some of the squares, so I provided a new one. Should be on your desk here tonight or emailed to you. Grab the right one here. So the proposed completion date of the current audit 22-23 is May 30th, 2025. Rolling right into the next one, a estimated completion date of middle of October, so October 10th. And then into 24-25, estimated completion date of roughly February 13th. So about a year from now, we'll be done and caught up. We'll be into 25-26. So any questions?
How much longer is CFO still gonna be part of this whole process?
For now, they are until Shantae is fully up to I can't think of the word. Up to speed. Thank you. We have the hiring of the new finance clerk interviews this week. Hopefully, get them onboarded early to mid-March at the latest. Get them up to speed. So my goal is now CFO would be out of the picture end of April. That's my goal. I don't know. It's probably optimistic, but definitely by the end of this fiscal year. Yeah, I wouldn't see any reasons why we would keep them on for the next fiscal year.
$4,000 a month, it's pretty.
It is, yeah, but we've had two staff from them assigned, really getting us caught up, helping with the audits. But yeah, it's a lot of money.
Bernard?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So when we spoke about this last time, I was animated to say, let's pay more, or let's consider paying more so we can shorten the timeline. I like what they proposed. I feel much better about this process to think in basically a year we'll be caught up if we can meet those deadlines. So I'm comfortable with this timeline. Earlier, I was like, no, this should be done in 9 months. This would be 12, and I don't want to push. I don't think it's necessary to push this any faster. That's where I'm at. I understand some council may disagree with that. That's the first thing. And then just a small thing, when you're doing the report, City Administrator Bennett, once an audit's done, I don't feel like you need to leave it up there. To me, you can take that off. I'm just cared about the ones that are in process or we're monitoring, their progress.
Yep.
So
Makes
as
sense.
far as I'm concerned, we should be looking at 4 audits right now, not the 5 that are shown. Yep. Okay, that's all I had. Thank you.
I was just gonna add, Bernard, if you were here, there's a paper copy that we got that actually has that 21 or 21, 22, 20, 21, 22. But anyways, the old one that we just completed, 21, 22 is no longer on there.
Yep.
So that's already taken care of. And
you should have gotten an email as well.
Yeah, I couldn't. I missed it. I apologize.
No one can be perfect, but I wanted to say thank you for. I think Bernard's the one that really brought this up about pushing to try to get this accelerated, and I appreciate the support from the rest of the council to make that happen. And Jordan, good job advocating for us. And you notice our 24-25 audit is now going to be 2 months late as opposed to 6 months late. And my hope is that we can find another 8 weeks somewhere in there and actually get that one done before the end of the year. So it's a big win though. So
we're getting there. Yeah, we're getting there.
My concern is I guess whenever we're talking this and the budget, because we're spending over $24,000 a month for the now CFO. And then we have a finance officer that we're paying for. And then we have the audit company that we're paying for. I would like to know what our line item, what it looks like in the budget, like how much we have and how much we have left. And that way we can keep track of it. The other thing I thought is a great idea, cause the timeline is okay, but I would like to see it done even a little quicker. So I would even vote to say that if they got it done a month or 2 months ahead of what they're quoting, that we maybe bonus them for getting it done. That way there's an incentive for them to work harder on this and get it done. Because it's costing us a ton of money.
I like that idea a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
that last audit that we got on here in 24-25, that one could be done by 12/31.
Yeah, if we could get them all done, then we could maybe look at a bonus or something, like put something there that's tangible for them to want to do it, you know? And anybody else have any, besides Bernard, go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I totally concur. That's an excellent idea to have an incentive for the auditor to beat the proposed plan. And it should be like, you beat it by 4 weeks, you'll get this much. 2 weeks, 8 weeks, it increases the quicker you get it done, right? So I love that idea. I would love if we could direct the city administrator to have that conversation with the auditor. And the second thing is, this is a great chart, but now, again, I think I want us to be laser focused on not missing one darn deadline. So I don't have the updated chart in front of you, but did I hear like in May, we should be seeing a new audit report? Is that what I heard, Mr. Bennett?
It'll be issued by the end of May is their goal. So it depends on how if council wants to review the audit before it is submitted to the state, or if once we receive it from the auditors, it's submitted, and then council gets the report after it's submitted.
Okay.
Wants to proceed.
Well, I would like the council to review it before it goes to the state for what it's worth. So, but to this point, we all need, the city administrator needs to put his project manager hat on and have milestones. It should be very clear if they're going to meet that May deadline or not on May 10th or whatever. It should be clear like on March, 15th that we're either on track or not on track. And if we're not on track, then we need to know. So I want to be very aware if they're not going to meet this proposal, and so we can put pressure on this process. This is I think a critical piece for the council, and we can't let up until we are caught up.
I'm just gonna ask, we've got the percentage complete, but maybe just a note of, are we on ahead of schedule, on track, or behind? And why,
Okay.
That I think would be, just in the notes.
All right, council procedure updates. I believe we left off on where it says media on page 14 of 18.
So yeah, there's a red line version that Kathy put together, or city recorder usually put together. If we missed anything, please let us know.
There was the preamble. I don't see any of that in the red line.
Yeah, no, that's not in there yet.
Yeah. Did you send that to me?
I gave you a hard copy.
That's right. Okay.
It's actually on a piece of paper, so I can.
Yeah.
To you.
If you could, that'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have that, so I couldn't fill that one in.
Yeah.
I got you. That'd make it a whole lot easier to have.
Yeah. Thank you.
And before we start, can I clarify, did we as council decide that we wanted all this extra stuff off of the agenda to clean it up so it doesn't look so
Yes.
crowded, like all the executive session and then the additions and amendments of the agenda?
I think we at least need to do the executive session, because we have to notice anyways. My personal. If the other ones give clarity to the citizens about why why they're there, I mean, that's fine, but this big block down at the bottom is just a bit much. Because we have, in order to do an executive session, we
You
have
have
to
to
state
notice it.
specifically what it is.
You have to
and
say what
notice.
you're having it for, yes.
Yeah.
24 hours in advance.
Yeah.
Well,
And
if
no,
it's an
that's
emergency, you
emergency.
don't.
Emergency.
You have to give
Yes.
as much
But-
as a second reading.
But we're gonna know what you're gonna
Mhm.
meet, I mean, we have the book with the codes and.
Yep.
So who's
For the
all in
statute.
consensus that we remove the executive session stuff at the bottom?
I am.
Well, I just, how did we get up on, how did this get onto our agenda anyway? I guess before I make the decision about whether I support removing, I'd like to know how it got on there.
I'm not really sure how it ended up on there, but we have asked Ruben, our attorney, and as the attorney, he likes to have it on there. Some of his cities have it, some of them don't.
Well, I feel like you're gonna delete it all anyway if you have an executive session, because you're only gonna put what pertains to what you're having it on.
Yes, if it's planned, yes.
Yeah. Who's all in favor of taking the executive session stuff off, say,
Take it off.
raise your hand.
I'm ambivalent.
I'm ambivalent. I support this council's decision, and yet if the attorney likes it, then I think he knows.
But the LOC says it doesn't need to be there.
Oh, they do?
Yes.
And it just looks more crowded and
Okay.
just so it cleans it up, makes it nice looking.
Executive sessions are very specific and
Okay,
precise.
yeah.
Because media has to be notified and then they can attend, but they can't say anything about it and all that kind of stuff, so.
So we're ready on page 14, starting at section 12, media. Does anybody have anything?
I just have a question on page 7, I'm sorry.
Oh, wow.
Because I know, but I'm sorry, you go from B to D to E, where's C?
Hold on.
I'm confused. What happened to C?
Probably when the red.
See,
Yeah,
there?
I'm not sure, probably when the red went in, it went to B, and I mean, we would. make
Okay,
sure all
I
that-
just want to
Yeah.
make sure that that was caught.
I don't know, but that's probably what.
Microsoft Word does weird things.
Yes,
It's the operator, isn't
I
it?
hate that email, I'm just saying, I typed a whole email, I typed that whole email and then it just disappeared and I had to retype it again, I'm just like, oh.
I just wanted to see if that was.
Yep.
You guys knew. that.
All right, anything on section 12 in media?
Section
Nope.
12.
I just got contacted by Nana Noteboom that requested that we respond to her. Because she has time, she has deadlines. My only thing, I'm just wondering if we want to maybe filter our responses through somebody else on council. I mean, what might sound good to us might not be, so like my blunder on the calling it same Indian instead of Native American. Tech terms change and things like that, so I don't know if that's something we wanna do. Filter it through somebody else of our choosing on the council, I don't,
That's on you.
okay.
So
It's
there's
like a
a,
personal decision whether or not you wanna go see somebody else talk to her.
Oh, no, oh, yeah, true, that's true.
yeah. So we're ready to go to page 15? If you got anything, say something, or raise your hand. All
Not yet.
right, 16? Page 16.
It's just,
Procedure for public hearings, nothing. 17? And then 18. And that gets us through the council procedures. You got something?
well, I do, but I don't know where they go, I don't, I asked when I set up my email account, we can all set up our signatures, and I forwarded it to Jordan to make sure that it was okay, and at that time he said, oh, we don't have a policy in place for approval for.
Correct. We don't have a standard email signature. Every staff has a different one. We don't have a citywide one. We don't.
So you don't necessarily want something in there that states that it should be approved by somebody on staff, or no?
I'm sure if I see it in an email and it seems odd, I'll probably mention it, but
Yeah.
And the other thing was, do we need to have anything here in the council procedure, or is that, I don't know, it might be the wrong document, that that we're allowing the mayor to have a phone now, should that be part of this document or?
No, I think that'd be a different document. I'm not sure which one, but yeah, yeah.
We're here. All right, so we're good with council procedures with all the updates and everything? Right, then you put it all together and then bring it back to us?
Yep, I think at this point, just a couple minor updates. I think one you mentioned is any mention of mayor when it's talking about preside, running the meeting. We'll say presiding officer, not mayor. So we'll clean that up, but I think we should have it ready for a resolution to approve at the next meeting.
Okay. Yep. On to the city administrator minute report.
Take a quick note here. Okay, so a couple of items here, hiring updates. As Public Works Supervisor Price mentioned earlier, we have a new utility technician, Devin Hadley, lives across the river in Carson, has a background in general construction and automotive services and started today. And interviews for the finance clerk position are set for this week, with depending on how they go and scheduling, hoping for end of February, middle of March, the latest for a start date. Wastewater treatment plant operations. City staff will be meeting with Jacob's staff on the 13th to do a detailed tour of the facility and walk through operations to ensure city staff know how to properly run the facility and assist in drafting an RFP or job description to propose to council. 2025-2027 capital funding requests. City staff would like to submit 2 capital funding requests during the current legislative session. The first request will be requesting the state to cover the expenses for the McCord Creek Bridge power line relocation. The request will detail all of the background information and requirements and funding sources, and working to draft a request that conveys a desire for a full request and willingness to accept a partial request. The second request will be a community needs assessment and feasibility study for a renovated or new city hall. I'll be asking for $200,000 from the state and exploring what we can offer to matching funds. The first portion of this study will be the needs assessment to review what facilities are needed in the city and what the residents want. Once that outreach is complete, a feasibility study on the scope, cost, and funding, and hopefully at least early level architectural work will be part of that. Including location, if this is the best spot or somewhere else in town is. And I apparently started typing a sentence, but never finished it. I am building a template letter of support to send out to interested parties. Again, I've had initial conversations with the post office, with the port, with the museum, with the library, with Fish Food Bank, all interested in having some part in this new building. So getting that letter out to them. I am looking to ask for at least for that one for lottery funds, but I also want to reach out to our legislators to figure out what is the best option. We could ask through general fund dollars, lottery fund dollars. I honestly don't know what the best route is, so I want to double check with our senator and representative. A rare application. I will be working on an application for a rare position through U of O for the next fiscal year. The city will need to put up $25,000 to support the rare position. Just because we submit an application doesn't mean we have to accept it. To help cover that $25,000, I'm working with tourism for part of that funding, as well as a grant through the port. I'm still in the initial stages and we'll keep council updated. The rare would be focusing on implementation of the downtown revitalization project, assisting in the transportation system plan process, code updates, city hall projects, and other items assigned. So they could fill a lot of gaps. McCord Creek Bridge, we are not done with it. There is an issue on the location of one of the vaults that we just installed at McCord Creek. City staff and BKA engineers are working with ODOT to resolve the issue. I'll be having additional conversations with ODOT project managers to discuss how the vault location became an issue after the fact and how to fund the vault move. Again, council will be kept up to date. I did meet our engineers did meet with the contractors, DJ Electric, who did the work, and proposing a new idea to remove the vault and reroute the conduit through the side of the rock face. We are awaiting review and approval from ODOT. The contractor is working on a cost estimate. That is this colorful map that I printed out for you. It used to wrap around along the trail. Now we're going to cut right through the middle of this little mountain here. Currently, that's the best option from what we have. The problem is that these lines are as much as 18 feet deep. So digging down 18 feet to then bring the power lines back up to put in a vault is super expensive. So by reducing the linear footage of the line to this new vault, it shouldn't be an issue, wouldn't be a major loss of power. So that's what they're proposing.
Can I ask a question? When ODOT gave us the instructions of where the vaults were going, we put them where they wanted them. So what's the problem now? They can pay for the removal and the installation.
Correct. That was my next point.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sorry. I just had a little.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. So I met with the ODOT project managers. Yeah, I met with the project manager from ODOT as well as the Area 1 director, manager, one of the big wigs. They are awaiting the cost estimate from the contractors before they will commit to covering the cost. There is consensus that ODOT should not have proved that location to begin with, and that is why they're willing to cover some, if not all, the cost.
They'll give us another loan to pay
No.
for it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was originally approved and it was right next to a storm drain manhole cover thing. And I don't know if it was on accident or what, but when it was actually installed, it ended up being installed about 8 to 10 feet east. And the thought was, well, we'll just give them a little more room to install their manhole. Unbeknown to the engineer, our engineers and the contractor is now right in the middle of where they're trenching to build a support wall for the bridge. But it turns out pretty much either spot it would have been in the way. So they haven't come out right and said it like we told you we shouldn't have approved that. They've hinted at it, but haven't come out and said it. So I met with them. I think they understand it's their boo-boo and they need to pay for it, but they haven't said it. They haven't said it yet. So,
Okay.
but we're not paying. This is not our fault. So, but either way, it needs to move for the bridge project to happen.
You have a question? I do have a question on the rare applicant. Can she also be used to help find money for the fire department?
Yeah, could be a he.
I mean, grant writing would be.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Extra, that would be.
A lot of it, for tourism to pay for it. It needs to have some tourism function as well for the port grant to pay for it. It needs to fit in with their strategic plan. So a lot of that is the downtown realization, the TSP, a lot of those projects I listed. So yeah.
Well, I'll just point out, but I could, that at League of Ordinance Cities, they mentioned that they were working on the expansion of TLT funding, and fire services was one, because obviously they support our tourists.
Correct. Yeah. We have not updated our TLT percentage since the 90s. So we still have the original 70-30 split. 70 goes to general fund, 30 goes to tourism. So if we could increase that, great, but it wouldn't add a large amount to our general fund. It wouldn't hurt. But right now that 30% split, I want to say is about 80 grand to general fund. So it would, or to tourism. So it would help. We still want to give some to tourism, but it wouldn't solve all of our problems.
Tiffany, also, did you want to discuss this?
Yes, yep, that's next.
On the TLT funds though, so it's my understanding that if we were to increase it, then the new amount that would be, would have to percentage, a different percentage.
Yep.
So tourism would get more money than the general fund.
Correct.
General fund would lose money where we would have to find more money to pay a problem.
Well, I don't think we would lose.
Hold on, you gotta wait till you call them.
No.
Wait till you call them, please.
Mary, can you explain that? It's,
Okay, right now you're at 70-30. If you decide to go 60-40, now we're losing 10% of that.
Oh, no, that's not what I was suggesting. I was saying that if we wanted to increase the TLT tax or increase the rate.
Okay, isn't the state determining the rate?
What do you mean?
The 7%, the 9%, whatever it is, 7%?
No, that's us. We can choose whatever we want.
I thought the state had a.
And so the split that we have right now, we can keep, what's our percent right now?
7?
7%, so
Yeah.
that 7% is locked at 70-30.
Correct.
But if we went to 8%, then that new 1% would be subject to
Okay.
the.
I understand. I thought the state set the percentage. I didn't think we did.
You're good now?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's the new percentage that
Okay.
changes,
Okay.
not the.
I think you're the one that helped me understand that.
All right.
But we should be absolutely sure on that.
Yeah.
You got a question, Bernard?
Yeah, a question, a clarification, just to Councilmember Baker's comment. Yeah, LOC is working on reforming the TRT tax so cities have more authority on that 70-30, on the initial 70-30. They want us to give us, if cities want to do 80% general fund and 20% tourism, they want us to have that right, that flexibility. So that's what they're working on. As you can imagine, the tourism industry, they will push back on it, but you know, that's politics. But just to be clear, that is what's being kicked around at the state level for cities to allow us to spend more money on tourism impacts versus tourism draw. And then on the ODOT thing, I would love to give a little report if it's not appropriate now about our conversation with our representatives, as well as some of the staff we talked to at LOC, on how we might best pursue that $1 million to reimburse us for the utility line movement. Should we talk about that now, or what is council's preference?
Let's move on for now and then revisit it. Because we're in the.
Well, are we gonna
comments.
get a report on the,
Yeah.
are we gonna get a report on how the visit went to?
I was gonna report on my councilor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So Denise, did you have a question?
I just wanted to point out that I get myself confused on the TLT funds and percentages, and I know that Janice Crane has kept way up to date, and the fact that we are grandfathered in is very important. And so whether it's talking to the state, Janice Crane, LOC, once we make any change, we lose our grandfathered status. So we need to be very careful before we propose a change, because this being grandfathered in apparently allows us more percentage. And in fact, I was at a LOC meeting, I think, or a Main Street meeting, and they said, how many of you are grandfathered in? And very few of us raised our hands and they said, oh, you got it. Like, don't mess with that. Don't mess with that.
All right, Jordan, you want to finish?
Yeah, the last item I just added this morning, the county has the same issue as we have with City Hall. Their courthouse is very old and outdated. They are doing a congressionally spending request to Senator Wyden and Senator Merkley. They have asked the city council to provide a letter of support. A draft is put on your desk this morning. Bernard, I don't remember if I emailed you one or not now that I'm sitting here. But I wanted to run it past you guys. The reason I'm doing it now in this short time frame is they need a response like 3 days before our next council meeting. I think that Friday before. So.
Was this the template that we were given, or?
Yes, I did not change anything. This is what they gave me. All I did was put it on our letterhead.
The first sentence is awkward. HR counties for community initiated project request for funding to plan for and design for, like that, those like 6 words. It's really difficult to understand. I don't know if that's just how the jargon is, but.
That's what their staff sent over. But again, it's your support letter, so if you want to update it.
You guys good with him, us doing that? All right.
Perfect, thank you. Dan, that's all I had.
All right. And we'll
Oh,
go.
can I?
Go ahead.
Sorry, one more item in your packet is a report from FEMA on the floodplain. They were scheduled to actually present here to council on February 24th. But we got an email from FEMA, all the craziness going on at the federal level there, all of their travel was postponed or canceled for like a 2-week period, like right up till before they were supposed to present to us, and whether it's extended, we don't know, but this was their briefing, but whether they'll actually be here on site, I don't know. So. Sorry.
And I just had a question real quick on yours, Jordan. I've seen that we asked the museum to write a letter for Christmas tree fund for the city hall. Did we have any letters out for the McCord Bridge project?
No, we did not.
Support? Can we do that?
We can, I guess I could send one to Multnomah Falls or Bridal Veil. I'm not 100% sure who I would send them to.
Maybe the county, since we're doing one for them.
County wouldn't.
It's in Multnomah County, so that's where the hard part is on that one.
It's not for the work. But Multnomah Falls would be one, but.
But how, I guess, I don't understand if we're gonna send a request and if we're not gonna, if we haven't done it, then we're really not doing it. Cause we say that we're gonna send a request, right, to get on the Christmas tree fund?
Correct. I wanted to get council's approval to move forward with them before I submitted them.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
The proclamation, is that something we're gonna be doing? Does she need to,
I'll sign.
does she need to get a consensus?
Yeah, I think it's just consensus. Yeah, there seemed to be consensus.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I
Yeah.
can't remember if it was an actual action item. I want to say it typically
Well, a
was.
proclamation is just it's like a feel-good statement, so you
Yeah.
you don't really have to do anything with it. I mean, you don't have to approve it. It's a feel-good statement and it was read and the mayor signed it and.
All right, Bernard, let's start with city council comment.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. So let's see, we've hit 2 of these. I'm just looking at my list here. Yeah, so back to the utility relocation.
Bernard, you're echoing really bad.
Yeah.
It's the owls.
Am I?
It's the owls, they're a little.
That's really odd. Yeah.
How is it now?
Nope.
I don't know what to do.
It's not, I don't think it's you.
I think we can hear you if it starts stuttering. That's the good word for it.
Try now.
Try it
How
now.
about now?
So it's on
quiet.
the radio, no, it's on the TV, yeah.
You want me to go to the end?
I think we've gotten through 2 hours of council meeting with this thing echoing on and off. I think.
Yeah. Let's push through.
Okay. So what I learned at the LOC day, at least one of my takeaways was, I don't think we're going to be successful getting that $1 million unless we hire a lobbyist. And I say that because one of our representatives said that to me. And when we spoke to ODOT, there was an ODOT rep there. We were very upfront with them. We told them our story. They didn't know our specific situation, but they said, yeah, you can do it, but here's what you need to do. You need to have someone talk to the Ways and Means chair. You need to talk to the leadership on the House side, the leadership on the Senate side. She gave us like 5 different people we needed to talk to. And then she said, you have to be the squeaky wheel. When I think about that, and then when you think about how complex and the labyrinth of Salem, the idea of having our city administrator try to navigate that and be successful, I just don't think that's wise. We're not going to get there. So I really want to advocate that council consider hiring a lobbyist for this thing, for this effort, because it would be money well spent if we could pull it off. If we don't, I'd say the chance of us getting it is basically 0. We're going to get stuck with this $1 million. If we hire a lobbyist, we have a much better chance. I can't put a percentage on that, but I know we actually have a chance. So I just want to make that case. So I would love for council to give direction on whether they support doing that or not, at least bringing it up for a next meeting agenda item. And then the second thing was, size of packets. So I would love to have the city administrator look at comparable cities and see if the council packets are 100+ pages. It seems overwhelming. And I don't know if that's norm, but my my gut tells me that those could be much smaller than they are. And I would like to try to explore that. I feel like we get a lot of reading material. Many of us are busy and trying to consume that. And then again, do it properly and do the analysis and submit questions. You know, it's a challenge. So I would love to see if there's some room in having the city administrator look at, you know, strategies to reduce the size of packets that we're reviewing every 2 weeks. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernard. Denise?
Thank you. I just wanted to echo, it was very valuable to go to the League of Oregon Cities, even the sort of unscheduled meeting with a mayor from another smaller city, and hearing about, oh, what are you doing about funding? And so that was very useful, meeting with our legislators. And while one said, yes, get a lobbyist, the other one said, you want the meetings, I'll make the meetings. So I'm not sure with this long session, a lot of lobbyists would already be there by now. What we did hear though, was our lobbyists last year did get the word out. They all knew her name and they knew what we were asking for. We did hear probably won't get the money from ODOT because they're behind. We need to ask for the money from elsewhere, as he suggested, or City Administrator Bennett suggested, because ODOT is very deep in debt. So we probably won't get the money from ODOT, but maybe somewhere else, is what I heard from one of the legislators. But we did hear also, we did make, let them know we need social services. Well, and the governor and other legislators talked about how that is a big ticket item in the legislative session this year, and affordable housing. So looking for that, as well as going to the State Department tables. Again, wildfire and others, like, yes, we could get money here, yes, we could get money. And so I appreciate that Councilman Pruitt asked, can our rare intern help look at some of these things? Because I will share my resources. Maybe they're all just being very polite and saying, yes, we can help, but it's hard to follow up on all of this. So I appreciate that. And on that note, with the rare, I'm excited about that because I've heard in the past they've done a lot for Cascade Locks and at an affordable rate. And if they come from the University of Oregon, who has helped us, planning department has helped us with our strategic plan and our downtown revitalization plan, then there's a lot of background knowledge already in there. So I appreciate that. On that note, just with the nonprofit Main Street, I wanted you all to know that 10 buildings and businesses in Cascade Locks were interested in learning about the $400,000 potential building revitalization grant, which comes from lottery funds from Oregon Park and Rec, Main Street, for putting their pre-app. And there's a team from McKed and the planning and the Cascade Locks Main Street reviewing these pre-apps now. So send good energy, because we're competing with the rest of Oregon Main Streets for $400,000. That'd be great. But the idea that 10 Main Street locations were interested in renovating. So that's exciting. On that note, I don't want us to drop that idea of economic development. And I don't know what this council wants to do about that, a committee, a little bit of our rare intern. How do we continue this collaboration with the port, the Main Street and McKed on moving forward, helping folks get developed? So just putting that out there. What do we want? And on that note, business directory. I know Councilman Crumpton brought it up last year that it would be pretty great to have a business directory, because folks have been reaching out asking the Main Street for that. Is that something? Do we just how would we start doing that? Putting that out there as well. So thanks everybody, and stay safe in this cold weather coming.
Thanks, Denise. Just a few things. I know we're short-staffed, but I noticed that the bookmarks were missing on the YouTube posting for our meetings. Also.
Oh, for which meeting? The goals.
The last one I did.
The goal setting?
Yeah, well,
I didn't do it in goal setting, no.
Yeah, well, that was a must. Was it on the last meeting?
Yeah.
I just wanted to get to.
Yeah.
Okay, I apologize, then I just.
Council President.
Sending.
And then on this, I appreciate this organizational chart to help me understand, but there are a couple things missing. The one that we do for budget has the citizens of Cascade Locks at top, and then the council below that, and then city administrator below that. And I'd like to see that reflected because ultimately we are responsible to the citizens. So I'd like to see that on there. And then I made some errors that hopefully we corrected on the executive session, that it's only 24 hours if it's an emergency, and it's 48 to 72 hours out if it's just a regular session and all that. So the discussion about the lobbyist, it's my understanding that it's really kind of too late. I mean, we should have had already last year, I mean, there should have been discussion already in a lobbyist hired before the session started. Now you're looking, we're gonna go to the next meeting, it'll be the end of February, then we'll have to decide, and I don't know, the idea of a lobbyist sounds good, but it also kind of sounds too late. And then also, the sign around the business plaza. We do not have Johnny's Deli or Johnny's Ice Cream there anymore. I mean, those signs, is there nothing we can do about getting those signs removed?
It's private property.
Are they?
We tried years ago to get,
It
and
just looks awful. I mean, they just don't, some of those businesses just don't even exist and we still have those silly signs out. Okay.
who,
I wanted to wonder,
probably say 10.
Jamie had talked about,
Sure,
Jamie
okay.
Crawford had talked about the planning email address, is that on the website? As a simple click?
I don't know about a simple click.
And then, I would like to have a discussion or proceed or do something to allow all people to access the yard debris. Those people that actually work 9 to 5 have no chance to ever use the yard debris station. I don't know what to do, for that, but to allow all people in this city to use it. And then I would like to have a discussion about our Zoom platform and having, first things first, turn off the chat. That should not be on. And have a discussion about a platform of using YouTube or like, the way the school board has it is that you can access it to watch or you can access to participate. And having that delineation between the two platforms. So if you submitted your letter to present, then you get access to the participation Zoom. Everybody else gets to the watching Zoom link. And I don't know how that all works. Oh, and my inclusivity statement. I want, and I will do it over and over and over. I want a statement that says all residents are valued and appreciated in our community.
Right. You mentioned the YouTube before, and I thought that was great because a lot of our TVs have YouTube right on them, right? So it might actually make it more accessible to people that are a little bit confused with technology. So I thought that was a great suggestion. City Day at the Capitol, meeting with Senator Bonham and Representative Helbridge, and both of them were very aware of the issue with McCord Creek Bridge. This is not a new thing for them. They both expressed support for it. That this seems silly that this is being stuck with the bill. At the same time, we also find out that ODOT's really in a budget shortfall due to tax revenue because of all the electric cars. So you know, it seems like we've got this massive transportation package that they're voting on, and we're talking billions and billions of dollars. They're just dropped in the ocean. That doesn't seem like much, but every single one of those dollars, it sounds like, is already spent for projects. So there was very little, neither one of them was offering any encouragement that we were going to be able to get any funding through the transportation package. There seemed to be a little bit more support for the Christmas tree bill, perhaps. But Ms. Pruitt, I agree with you. I mean, we're behind, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad idea to reach out to the lobbyists to find out what their perception is of this. I don't think it hurts to ask that question and find out, is it just a waste of money? I mean, I feel like we got that answer from the lobbyists last time that this isn't the right time to ask for it. So they may offer that same recommendation again, that maybe this isn't the right time, you're gonna be more successful, making this ask at this time, and this is when you need to hire that lobbyist, so. Feel like this is a good time to at least, let's find out what they have to say about that. Streetlights, we got 13 out. I ran through my neighborhood after I talked with you on the phone. Jordan in Shahala and Winsong, through the whole neighborhood, including, one of them is one of the new LED lights too. Did you find out anything about that yet? No.
So yeah, as we chatted, the new lights are ordered. We actually don't have any of the old lights left in stock, the old phosphorus ones. We have the new LED lights. They come, the other styles come pre-wired. These ones do not. So Derek is wiring them as time allows. And when there's a tranche of them ready to go, we're going to get a lineman on site to assist him. We're hoping to get the first batch done here within the next, I think, 3 weeks, end of this month, to get that first set going, and then finish them up the next month. But so they're on the list.
So the plan is to go through Winsong and Shahala and replace all the old lights.
All of the lights. Yep. Yeah.
And that's all I have.
Yep.
Marianne. All right. I echo the debris. I've heard from many community members that do want more accessibility to the debris. Right now, it's probably not as an urgent issue as it's gonna be as soon as we all start mowing our lawns and doing all that. Because the hours don't work for everybody, so I would like to, that's one of the goals, is to get it open maybe a couple times a month, and then the hours vary so working people can access it. Also, I wanted to echo again about the audit. I would like to order some type of, get some type of bonus or something going, so they'll get them done quicker. Because because they told us dates, I don't necessarily want to know about it, because I've seen how they pushed us off for 2 years it took to get one audit done. So it's a little scary to think that they could actually get it done, so I figure get some type of bonus or something to make them want to do it quicker. And then I wanted to mention about Jesse Groves. He's a longtime resident that has passed away in our community. He's done so many things for our community, and I just wanted to reach out to his family and let them know that they're in my thoughts and prayers. And I appreciate everything that he has done for the community. And then also, can we start a report for the bathrooms down there, how much we're spending, because we're not making any money.
No.
So we know each quarter we're spending this much money, because I've always had a problem with the businesses not providing bathrooms. And maybe the businesses need to share the cost in these bathrooms, but if we don't know, if we can't spit out a figure, then it's kind of hard to say. And I think that is, and the other thing is I would like to get a city hall open 5 days a week once we get more staff and stuff. So I would like to advocate that we have people work in office so we can do that for the people, because they do want it, because not everybody can make it. Some people are only off on Fridays and can only come to City Hall on Fridays to take care of business or whatever. So, and that's all I have. And thank you guys.
Madam Mayor.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 quick things. I apologize. So regarding the ODOT funds, the reason I feel like we have a potential to get this thing done is we have a strong moral case. I know ODOT doesn't have money, or that they're claiming that, but we have an extremely powerful case that we got screwed by them, and they need to make us whole. But again, the idea of trying to have our administrator do that, I just don't think we're going to be effective. If we really want to make a proper push, we need help from a lobbyist. But I do think we can. I think this is a very doable thing, given our case that ODOT really, they screwed us over, and they should make us whole. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing, this is a little unconventional, but I wanted to run it by you guys. So we had a retreat. many of you heard me talk about, we need to amend our code to allow ADUs or ARUs and medium and high density residential. It's my understanding it's a very simple fix. What I want to ask council support of is to let me do the homework. I will go research codes from other cities and propose draft language for the planning commission to consider and our planner, and to get this thing. We said we only have priority for so many things. I want to take that on. I'm not giving it to the city administrator staff. I would like to do that work. But again, that's not atypical. Typical council doesn't do that stuff. I wanted to see if I get your support to let me do that.
I'm supportive of that. I think that's great.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that.
everybody's good with that? Okay.
Thanks, Bernard.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
And then one last thing, the newsletter. When can we start doing that again? Because then we could give the update on the report, we could give the update that we might, be able to open debris. And that way we're communicating with the public.
Well, hopefully, assuming the new finance clerk is in a position, a lot of that work, the extra work that City Recorder Woosley has taken on will be transferred off of her, will free up quite a bit of her time. So I'm hoping April-ish, give or take.
Did you have
Sometime this spring. I get consensus from council on tracking bathroom expenses.
Can you guys get a consensus that it's okay to track it? Because it should be an easy way to just
Easy
pull it
thing.
up, right? It's not a lot of.
As long as Sheldon and his crew, as long as Sheldon and his crew are keeping track, it'd be up to them. They'd have to know how much time they're spending on it, what exactly have they spent on it.
I think ballpark.
Yeah.
I don't want the staff to dedicate hours and
No.
hours and hours trying to figure this out, but
Let's
a
figure it
ballpark would be helpful.
Like a dollar amount is good, and then we could figure there's so many hours spent cleaning bathrooms, but.
Yeah.
Just what's the dollar amount we're spending? 'Cause that's enough damage there.
Can TLT funds be used for the bathrooms? Used to clean that.
I don't know. You have to look into
I'd have to
that.
look if it's considered a tourism
Yeah.
facility or not.
You guys, is it okay if he gives us
Just a
some numbers?
ballpark figure. I mean, they spend an hour a day down there cleaning. That's what they do. They spend how much toilet paper they buy for it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, sorry, I'm sorry. I just forgot I had this. Did we get our streets and stuff updated? Our street, infrastructure reporting?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sheldon got that in. Yeah.
Sorry.
Good, we have a motion to adjourn,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed?
Just not very long.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good night.
You got it on your.
I know.